what we got going on here. I think it is functional. Are we live? Looks like it. Sounds like it. Alright, I think we're live. I had started this earlier and I forgot to shave, so I'm freshly shaven. Alright, welcome back to another mask testing video. Now remember, this is a raw data video, so it's just for data transparency, so that mask manufacturers or people that are also mask nerds can come and watch how I tested this to see if there is something that I missed or just understand what I'm doing. So it's all about data transparency. Usually the review videos are going to cover more in depth about this. You're like, what the heck is all this? Well, there's probably a review video for this, or I'm testing something weird. So today we're going to cover one topic, which is Bluna. Okay, so it looks like Bluna has brought on, this is my guess of what happened. I'm guessing they brought on another manufacturing line because they probably have a lot of demand. So on all Bluna packaging, there is a date code on the back, and the date code tells you when it was made. So I have two Blunas here. One date code is the older one that I had, because I keep all the masks I test. Every mask I test, except for I can't find my Halo mask. I have that somewhere. I think it fell behind something. I guess you can find that mask. I can't find the Halo that I tested. I think I got lost somewhere. But otherwise, I keep all my masks. So I have the original Bluna that I tested. Its date code is 0720 of 2020. So it's actually from July of last year. And I just got these. I had it asked to be healthy the next day. I'm on vacation, so I took some time off to do this quickly. Just because I know there's some concerns about this, and mostly I want those kids' masks out the door because there's a lot of kids that need these masks. So this is the date code 2021-08-02, and here's the big thing. I noticed in all the date codes they now have a letter at the end. This is letter B. I've seen letter A, letter B, maybe a letter C. I gotta double check on that, but for surely an A, a B, and a G. What does that mean? Well, I'm guessing those are each one of the lines that they're running. So I'm guessing they brought up a second line. Now, these masks look very slightly different. You're not going to be able to notice on the camera, but maybe if I tilt it, one of these is shinier and one of these is more matte finish. And again, I doubt that I'm going to be able to show you this on camera, but we'll try. You'll notice that one mask is ever so slightly bigger. Okay. Now I noticed right away that the shape is identical. So if we put them back to back, the difference is like super minuscule. It's like maybe 1 or 2 millimeters difference. There's just like a very, very slight difference on the size. It's really hard to tell, but the shape is identical. What I think is they're doing is, I'm guessing when they made this new line, they got smart. So the old version had very little distance for them to fold over this and heat seam this. I noticed that now they have much more room to fold over and heat seam. So I'm willing to bet that they brought up a new line, created new tooling for that line, and probably fixed one of the issues that they had, which is that when they folded over this material, they gave themselves some extra length. By making that fold a little bit wider, what it did is it made it easier to bend, but more. And so what happened when they made that bend longer is it made the mask ever so slightly wider. They probably also are using a slightly different material now, depending on who they're sourcing it from, right? Those materials might change a little bit, but I bet you the filter media inside is the exact same. So that's what we're going to test today. So you're going to see example today. So this is the one, and I have the lot number written on the tag here, so now each mask I can mix and match. They won't get lost, they're labeled. So we'll do that after we do our normal work. So that's what we're going to test. We're going to test the Enro mask. This mask does not have a filter that goes edge to edge. It's just in the middle section. So we'll see how it does. I'm not convinced it's going to work that great. And I'm not very convinced that the material choice they're using is also great, or their claims are 99%, because I'm guessing those 99% claims are VFE and BFE, which are like, I want to see PFE data. Don't be showing me BFE BS. All right. So there we are. I think we're all, let me just check sure we're live. Yeah, we got 2 whole people watching us. So hopefully this is all up and running. All right, so for those not familiar, we always start with our 0 count check. So currently the counter is zeroed out. We should be seeing basically 0 particles per cc. Yep, it's basically 0. I'm not seeing any counts on mine, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the tubing. And then watch the counts spike. And it's going to go up to about 1,000 particles per cc. That's my background concentration in the room today. It's a beautiful day in Minnesota. None of that smoke from the wildfires is blowing in, so we got a nice low concentration. I also have MERV 13 filters in my house HVAC system, so that usually works pretty well to keep the concentration pretty low in here. Alright, so let that kick on. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kick my aerosol generator on. You're going to hear it turn on here. I'm going to bring the concentration up to 25,000 particles per cc, and then we'll do our normal checks. We'll use our Moldex N100, 3M 8210, and the Air Queen. I expect to see 99, basically 100% with this, high 99+% with that, and we usually sit around to 89 and 90, and I'll repeat that test. And if I keep repeating that test over and over again, it gives me a gauge of like, did something vary from day to day, or are my tests repeatable? And so far they're been extremely repeatable. So we'll let that kick on. There's no way that concentration is that high already. Yeah, I'm gonna move my just go ahead and get it started on the... no, I'm actually going to do that. I'll put the 2 point counter. I want to make sure my fan's blowing the air around here. There we go. You're just seeing the spikes because the fan's blowing the air from my generator, and sometimes it wafts over here to the counter, and so you're seeing the spikes just in that. Eventually it'll be well mixed in the room. I can turn this fan up a little higher. It'll help with a little bit of that, just keeping it well mixed in here. I just want a well mixed volume because then it's easier for theoretical reasons. So here we go. Alright, so let that get going while that comes up in concentration. Go ahead and fill in the details. So in 100, in 100 NIOSH in 100. Cup style, as warm. I'm also freshly shaven. For those that were watching closely, I live stream for like 2 seconds, and then I touched my face and was like, oh yeah, I forgot to shave. So. Alright, I'm going to turn the generator off. We'll wait a second here for it to stabilize, and then we can get started. Seconds for it to stabilize. And there we go. Go ahead and don the mask. A little careful putting this on because I was a little too aggressive with it last time, so I'm going to disconnect it back. Maybe that's not the best way to do it. I think they want you to do it like this. You can use this little cuff to put it on the back. There we go. Alright, we're going to call it there at 2.656 to the 4. Go ahead and connect the mask here. The mask is connected. Right away you see the concentration just plummet. Alright, we'll call it 1.856. I was going to see if I could get it like all the way to 0 by not talking. I'm getting up 2 particles. Alright, so we got like 2 particles per cc, so it's only going to be like 99.999. I'm not going to probably answer too many questions, but someone did ask on Twitter. You asked someone that the following two: what is total internal leakage? TIL is total inward leakage. That's a measurement. It's the same measurement that I'm doing on my test right now. So in 95s, do not have a total inward leakage spec. KF84s have a spec, but it's, let's see here, let me just take the country, 2.1860. KN95s have an 8% leakage because it's the same as the FFP2, and then KF94s allow, you know, it depends on how you read that spec. It's a little differently than the others, so it's, I usually say 11%, but technically it is 8%. It just, it's kind of a weird spec. All right, so that one's done. We'll move on to the 8210. So it's a total Enro leakage test. It's very similar to what I'm doing right here. You're measuring the number of particles that come into the mask. If you measure it just like, basically exactly what I'm doing here. NIOSH does not have that standard. Why? Because a long time ago they were going to implement the standard, and then the moneyed interest of lobbying companies that make N95 masks lobbied the NIOSH to not include it because their argument was that some masks would fail that test, that pass N95 currently, because it's a little bit more of a restrictive test. And so they said that, well, if they fail, then there might be market confusion because they were good N95s in the past, but now they don't pass the new standard. And it's just them not wanting to have to pay to do the test. And if you're a mask manufacturer, you just do whatever you can to control the market and prevent new people from coming in. So I'm not surprised by that. Anyways, it's a good test. It's what I'm doing. It's basically the same test I'm doing here. It's a little slightly different because they're going to have better instrumentation and stuff. My stuff's good, but they're going to have like a controlled room. They're going to use, large concentrations of aerosol. It's going to be neutralized, which mine is not. I don't neutralize the aerosol. There's some details there. All right, so we got the concentration up. We are at 2.0740 in the 4. Let's go ahead and don the mask. And yes, I don these like a goofball. I know you're supposed to like hold it, bring the things over, but I'm not here to actually perform a test. All right. So you see the concentration plummeting. Got a little leak there. Alright, stabilized at 161 particles per cc. Oh, that's maybe a little high. Yeah, but it's still coming down. I called that early, sorry. Call it there at 116. Let that run for a second. I'm just seeing I get some retries on my counter here. Come on, baby, don't die on me now. Give it a few seconds to stabilize. Six even the full. 866. Alright, so we'll do the Air Queen, Nano Control. It's an unrated mask. It's a Rope Style, Azure 1. flow mask again today too, see if I can help get that sealed. See if I can chase down what was going on there, or if I can repeat the test on another day. If I repeat the test on another day, then I'm going to kind of stick with my data and say, until there's some independent data, it is what it is. Alright, so air cooling is up on there. It's up next. We'll give it just a few seconds to stabilize here. Out there at 1.764 unit. 764 unit. Oops, that's not the right number, but I'll fix it with the wrong mask. They're caught there at 2040. As soon as it's stabilized there, let's let that come back up. Get 88.4%, so that's not surprising at all. Supercards boy asked, how my kids came from for the same one that you said were your son's orders with a little ducky on it, or on it, or facial. What? Let's see. My kids would wear the Bluna kids mask on the duck, the same as your son wears, but they'll all have them wear a protective face shield at school. Probably overkill, but it doesn't hurt. They are too young to get a shot. Will they be safe? I mean, no one's going to tell you that there's. I mean, it's the best thing you can do. There's no guarantee. Depends on everything. There's a lot of the variables that go into that. But yes, wearing a good protective face mask is the best thing that you can do. I mean, you want to see building ventilation, you want to see in-room HEPAs, all kinds of things, but not everyone's doing that, and the country is kind of all over the place right now in terms of banning masks from schools and all kinds of crazy stuff. But so put your kid in with the best mask you can fit, make sure it fits them well, make sure it's comfortable, make sure they can ask your school about if they made any changes to the ventilation system, yada yada yada. There's no guarantee. I mean, so yeah, my son's wearing the tiger mask, but he also will probably wear some of the ducky masks too. All right, so we'll start off with the Bluna with the latest lot code. So here's the question of the day. Everyone's been waiting. Whoa, are they real? They're slightly different, but are they real? This will prove to you whether I'm right. And Bluna face fit with a lot. So whether KF94 liability for quality standards exist. So it's A0802. So this was made in August 2nd, and they have B on it because that's the line that was probably built on. This is a KF94 rated mask, boat shape. It's as worn. It's black. Ear loop. We're probably gonna have to shorten the ear loops up a little bit, but we can get started here. Look it up. Moment of truth. I bet you these are real. Actually, I guarantee they're real. Be Healthy overnighted this so I could do this test today quickly because I wanted to answer this question. Mostly I care about the kids' mask. I don't really care about the adults' mask. I want to get the kids' mask out there. But 84 people, yeah. Hold on. I guess we'll see what the max is that they allow. I guess everyone wants to see what I'm testing. But I don't see that many people in the live stream, so maybe it's just people that are discovering my spreadsheet. I probably should publish this thing. I think it's 100 max concurrent viewers, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's jump over to here. I'm going to call it there at 1.349 unit 4. 349. Oops. not shockingly. Let's see how well it performs. Really well is the answer. I'm going to focus here. This is a smidgen tighter. All right, call it 128. So those watching at home, it's like 99%, 99.1%. So yes, the Blunas are real, even though they have a slightly different texture and they are slightly different in terms of their size. They are still real. Why? Because KF94 standards are legit. I'm guessing the supplier made some small changes to the line. You know, is it nice that they would have notified Be Healthy? Yes, that's the answer they should. So Collective Be Healthy you're probably getting from the same source. I don't know for sure, but they're probably going direct to Bluna. But at the end of the day, they should have notified them, hey, just an FYI, we're bringing in another line. You might see that some masks are a little bit longer because we fixed an issue with our manufacturing, yada, yada, yada. But they didn't, so then everyone freaked out, which is okay. It's good. But again, Be Healthy did the right thing. They said, hey, I noticed a difference. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be a difference. I'm going to make sure I stop and take a look and make sure they're good. So good on Be Healthy for doing the right thing. So 99%. Good job, Bluna. All right. We're coming down a little bit on the concentration, so I'm going to go ahead and kick on our generator here again for a second. I'm going to put this mask back into its bag. So everyone that's 2020, so yes, you will notice a slight size difference, but they are legit. Now the kids mask, we'll do next. So the kids mask, what's different, while we wait for the generator to run here for a second, for those watching at home, the kids mask, they made two changes. One, the packaging is smaller, so they changed the packaging. Actually, let me see, make sure I can even see what I'm showing here. This one. All right, so the packaging, slightly smaller. This is the new mask. This is the original mask that I tested. I don't know exactly the date. The date has rubbed off on this mask because I've had it for over a year, or like almost a year. So like it's sometime I can't read it exactly, but I'm going to guess that this is sometime from last year. And then this is, so they shrunk the packaging, and the same thing. Again, this is coming from the G line. So the last number in the G. Again, they're labeled. So this is the original mask. They are ever so slightly different in size. Much less noticeable. I mean, there's still a little bit of difference in size, but not like a huge amount. It's like, I don't know. It's like 2 millimeters longer, maybe like a millimeter longer or something like that. It's hard to say if that's just manufacturing tolerance. You're not going to be able to see it on camera, but there is some very slight difference there. The patterning, yeah, the material is slightly different. It's smoother than the old one. The old one is kind of softer. This one, the new one, is kind of smooth. So there is some slight difference. So packaging difference and slight change in the mask, but let's see if they are still legitimate. So I'm going to pull off the ear loops here and adjust them in. Let's see if we can adjust them in there. Let me track my concentration here. All right, I think we're going to turn this off. We'll adjust the ear loops here a little bit. Side to the top, no, you're going to the bottom, the mask is this side. Alright, so adjust the ear loops just a little bit. I'm not sure how much I'll need. Then we'll hook up the mask to the port. Let that sit for a second. Put this one back in his bag while we wait. This is not right. So I also keep all the masks I test. So this has actually turned out to be a very good idea that I did that. I just put them in a bag and they sit out, which also highlights the mask is a year old too, and they still run great. So highlights that these are, you don't have to treat them with a face fit. Kids, this is lot number 202108G. It's a KF94 rated mask. It's boat shaped. It's as worn. It's white. Ear loop. Concentration is 3.200 E to the 4. Actually, what is it now? Oh, 3.208. 3.208. There you go. Don the tiny little kid's mouth. Probably have to seal the nose with my finger. Just because it's like right off the edge of my nose. So I will seal it with my thing. So I'll say. Called it 46.47. So that's like 99.9. Oh, I love it. Yeah. I guess I can retest that Bluna again too. I guess I just had a little face leak on the Bluna. It's really hard beyond 1%. It's really hard. Someone will have to go look in there. We'll give it a second here to stabilize. I'll look at the old. Let's see, where's the old Bluna? God, I haven't tested Bluna in a long time. Did I test a Bluna for the first time? Cotton. Blue Tiger Kids. I don't know when the first Bluna I tested was. Alright, I gotta get back down to the bottom here. Concentration is 3.03. We're at 99.9. Awesome. So let's find. Let's see what the last Bluna was. Let's see here. So I tested it back in October of last year, and I got 99.3 and 99.1. Yeah, so basically the exact same as worn. So, yep. Same basic value, so they are identical. So Bluna Gate's over. Yeah, KF94s, quality control systems work, lot IDs work. That's the whole point. That's why these are labeled and lotted and everything. If they did actually have a bad manufacturing run, they could just pull all the ones that were built on that line at that time. That's why they do it. All right, let's move on. Let's test the Enro mask. Now this mask has some great claims. I'm going to read them some to you before I get going. The Enro mask, you can breathe now. The perfect mask is here. It has a superior PM 0.1, which is garbage marketing term. I hate those terms. I hate when people use PM 0.1. It doesn't mean anything. There's no standard. That just means particulate mass less than 100 nanometers. Great, but how much of it do you remove? Let's see what else they say. But this is my favorite part of this container. This mask is intended for use by the general public as source control. It is not intended as a substitute for respiratory protective devices or surgical face masks. Its filter is a melt-blown polypropylene material. Yeah, I doubt this is going to work very well. We'll see. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. Let's check it out. So 8, 22, 21. This is a size medium for my face. I did make sure that it fit perfectly with my fizz was. So this is the Enro. Does it say exactly any more detail? I did order it off the website. I think they only make one version of it, so I guess I should just do it. It's Enro in jet black. It's non-rated. It's I don't know what you call it. I'd call it a bifold. It folds in half. It doesn't have any. We'll do as worn first. It's black. It's yearly. Concentration 2.803. Go ahead and don the mask. Let's see how it does. I'm not gonna guess it doesn't do great. So two things I don't like about this mask right away. When I tighten the ear, it looks good and tight here. nose wiring, great. It leaks a lot right here. I can't get a great seal. So we'll just do it as worn, and then I'll seal it with my hands. Oh, that's not good. That ain't very good. Let's see if we can get a good seal. I mean, it's just leaking, so it's not like the media isn't good or something. It's just it doesn't. So we'll just wear it as I would casually wear a mask. Call it there. It's all over the place, so I'm just getting leaks like mad. So that's why you see this concentration just spiking like this. Is because it's leaking all over the mask. I'll actually let it suck to my face a little bit too. That seems to help. So I saved around 8,230. So 70%. Well, it's about as good as a surgical mask. Sorry, Enro dudes. We'll test it again here. I'll let this stabilize, get the concentration, and then what I'll do is I'll seal it to my face. But so far, I'm not impressed. I wasn't really surprised because I think that all their claims of filtration efficiency are VFE or BFE. Bacteria filtration efficiency and viral filtration efficiency, which sound like these really cool terms, like you're filtering bacteria. It's not. It's just a 3 micron particle size. I wish they'd stop using it. I wish we'd get rid of this. And yes, I love that the New York Times said it is the best mask, because I'm pretty sure the filter is good. I'm not arguing the filter isn't there. It just turns out if you don't put the filter across the entire mask, it does little for you. That's because they didn't test an as-worn condition. They just tested the media of the filter. 2.532 e to the 2. Or 2.54 e to the 4. 2.540 e to the 4. All right, so we got 69.2. Wow, great job, Enro Jet Black. You guys are really knocking it out of the park. All right, let's try a few. We're going to do it this way. We're going to do sealed to face. I'll put a little note here because I know a lot of people aren't reading the columns over, so they get confused. So sealed to face. All right, I'm going to use my hands to seal up this mask as best as I can to my face, and we'll see what data comes back as. So we'll call it there 2.47 e to the 4. I am not surprised by the data. We'll talk a little bit about when I take it off about why that's not surprising to me. It's not an edge-to-edge filter. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to seal it with my face. Here we go. It's sucking to my face, so I got to kind of hold the tube away too. I got to switch to my screen here. I jump around a lot. Call it 57, 52. It's just jumping all over the place because it's leaking. Every time I breathe in, it's leaking, so you get a lot of leaks. So it improved to 76.7%. I'll explain why in a second here. For those wondering, like, what the heck? This is like this best website ever. Thanks, Elizabeth, for answering that question for me. Alright, we want to stabilize here. I am seeing my counter starting to air out on the Alright, we'll call it there. 2.17 e to the 4. So 75.2%. Alright, so for those wondering why this mask doesn't do so well, it's going to be really hard to show on camera because I just have my webcam on my laptop. But I'll try my best to explain what's going on here and why I have a big concern about this mask. So I can't adjust the white balance. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Anyways, see this bottom flap? That's the bottom part of the mask. There's no filter there. So if this rests on your chin, there's a big chunk of cloth, and it's easy to breathe through. There's very little restriction on their cloth. So it just leaks there. And that mask does not go all the way to the edge. The mask goes to here. It stops here. And this nose wire, not super stiff. And the whole design, not elastic. Not really like tight face sealing. So what's happening is, you can go take this mask, and they can do what they did at UC Boulder. And I'm not criticizing UC Boulder, their test method is good. They take a tube, they set the mask over it in just the middle, and they measure the filtration efficiency through the middle where the filter is. And they probably got pretty good results. The problem is that that's a filter media test. And if you use a total Enro leakage test, you find that it leaks all around the mask because it doesn't seal better. So is it better than a loose-fitting surgical? Yeah, I mean, I can get surgical masks from 40 to 80%, so it's on the upper end of the surgical mask. Is it a KF94 level? Clearly not, because you can watch me test these masks against this KF94. I just tested the Bluna, and I got 99%, and I got 70. So, and then the whole question of washability. So what happens is as you wash this and the filter loads with more particles, because when you wash it in a washing machine, that thing's going to get hard to breathe in, guess what's going to happen? It's just going to leak more around the mask, because the larger the pressure drop gets, it's going to leak around the mask more. So, Aaron does not give the Enro a recommendation. Wire cutter, if you're watching this video, maybe you should update your test and maybe work with someone who knows something about masks. We should work together. We should test masks together, wire cutter. We could be a strong force in the world of mask testing. Because we need more people testing masks. I can't just have me testing masks in my bathroom. All right, let's move on. Dr. Pury Small. Got one. Someone sent me one. Thank you for sending it. I can't remember exactly who it was. I have their name, but I won't say it live. I could look it up who it was and thank them, but I'm not gonna out them. So let me just tie. I did shorten the ear loops a little bit for my son because I was gonna take a picture of him with this on. But all right, so we'll do the Dr. Pury Small. See how it stacks up. This is a lot from 1/28/2024, so that means it got built in January of this year. So it's kind of a little old actually. It's been sitting around for a little while, but that's okay. So we'll do this. So it's Dr. Pury Small. This is a KF94 rated mask. It's boat style. Look at it as worn. We may have to pinch the nose wire, so we'll update that if we have to. We'll do here loop. Go ahead and jump in our concentration. 1.911 e to the 4. Okay, go ahead and put on the mask. This is a tiny little mask. I don't really like these masks because they suck to your face. That's my only complaint about them. So I'm going to definitely have to seal the nose wire. So we'll pinch the nose wire. 106. It's stabilized at 106. Let this come up to concentration. That's going to be, again, around 99 point some percent. 99.4. So you can spend 16 bucks on an Enro. They gave you a 70, or you can spend $1 on a KF94 and get 99.4 on a dull face. Although I did have to pinch the nose wire because my face, you know, it's too big. It's too small for my face. But yeah, I don't think there's many room. I could do some clickbait by retitling it that, Travis, but I'm not a clickbait kind of person. It's all about data transparency to me. And sometimes I do talk a little more smack in the live stream than I do in my normal videos, but you know, it is what it is. I call it like I see it. I mean, the funny thing is, like, I have no skin in the game, right? I don't own any. I have no involvement. If the mask does great, it does great. If the mask doesn't do great, it doesn't bother me. Other than I paid myself $15 for that mask, so I guess I'm out 15 bucks. But yeah, I bought that mask myself because I saw them on the wire cutter and they were sold out, and then I happened to look one day and got it, so I ordered it and it showed up. All right, so Dr. Pury Small, good. All right, let's finish up today with this flow mask. Now I had some trouble last time getting some good data on this, so we're going to try it here again. I'm going to actually remove the head straps off of it because I don't need them. So I don't know what's going on, so we're going to do this all live together. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to use a single media, and one of the concerns that was brought up last time was that was the mask sealed against it. I'm going to try to show this. Let's see if I can jump back to my camera. Oh god, the white balance is way too high. Let's see. Adjust white balance. It's going to be really hard to show this because it's so bright. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can see it on the screen, maybe you can't. I'm sorry. Anyways, you can't. Alright, you can see the seaming on the mask. So that's how I put it in there. See that seaming on the outside? That's where it's sealed. So you can see that it is all sealed around the filter. So it's not like the filter's leaking. You can see the seaming all around there. So you can see the mark. So I'm going to place it back in there very gently to make sure that it's centered. Because the question is, what happens if the media leaks around the edge, right? Because if you don't get it centered on the media. And I'm going to make sure my tubing doesn't pull it. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the mask, this with my hand. I'm going to show you that I can suck this thing in. Right? You can see it stuck to my face. That's because it's sealed. It's not leaking. I could tell if there was a leak. Right? So it sucks to my face. So there's no leaking when I'm doing this test. I will plug my nose to make sure that there's nothing going in and out of my nostrils that could impact the test. We'll test it again. I know it's not leaking. How do I know it's not leaking? Because I can, like I said, cover it all. I can feel it leaking a little bit through the test bar because I can't cover that at the same time, but it sucks to my face. I do not feel any leaking and it seals right up to my face. Alright, so let's try this again. I'll also do a couple things. I'm going to try breathing really slowly. I got big adult lungs. It's not really exactly fair to test a tiny little filter meant for kids on my big adult lungs, but I would still expect to see better than 70% flow mask, considering I do the big adult lungs on these KF94s. So this is single filter. Going to hold this to make sure that's not pulling the filter element away, you know, because there's a little bit of force of the tubing on there, so there could be something with that as part of it. So we'll just double check my work here. Like I said, my method is not perfect. I'm in my bathroom. I do use really high-end instruments, but this isn't a typical way you would. I mean, it's not actually that far from how you would do this test, but there are some things that are slightly different that could get us that could skew my results. So I'm always cognizant of that. So we'll call it 1.474 E4. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to hold this. try breathing in very slowly and see if that changes the slope. A little bit. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to close this and we'll zoom in. Yeah, I mean, I'm being very careful to make sure that this is sealing my face, and I can see there's no leaks around the perimeter. I can feel that for sure if there was a leak that was happening at this magnitude. So I'm just we'll start this again. You can see the graph in a little bit tighter detail here. So here we go. We'll see what happens as I run this. I just want to make sure the tubing's not pulling on the mask at all. And kind of hold it. It's a little bit of a precarious design here, but. I called it at 3871. You can just see the periodic breathing pattern. It's spiking up because every time I breathe in, it spikes in, and you're seeing that bleed off as I breathe out. So 3871, 73.7. So it's basically what I got last time. I don't think it's leaking. We'll try one more test of me breathing really, really slowly. I'll do a deep breath out, and then I'll signal somehow with like my pinky or something. I don't have an extra appendage, or I'll just say breathing in, and I'll breathe in as slow as I can. At like the lowest breathing rate possible for me before I start getting faint, because basically you're going to be limited by that. You know, I'm not going to take enough oxygen. I'm going to start getting tired, feeling like I need to breathe. So I'll call there. Set the stabilize here for 20 seconds. All right, 1.324 either. All right, 72.3%. So let's try this again with a really slow breath system. Just copy all this again. I'll do this here. I'll say this plus this very slow breathing. Elizabeth, not that I don't, no, I'll do that later. Elizabeth, should be a little careful on the sheet, because one time you made some changes in here I had to undo, but I can track those, but just be careful, because you actually do have edit rights in this document. So just be careful navigating, you have edit rights. Alright, so let's try this again with the slow breath portion, so 1.296. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to support the tube with my fingers. This is getting... I agree. This is a precarious, silly way to do this. I mean, I'd like a much better solution, but it is what I have right now. So here we go. I'm going to do very slow breaths. I'm going to try to make sure it's sealed really well to my face. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. acrylic. Alright, call there. 20 average is 2970. So we did see a lake. I wouldn't argue there's really much improvement. You're just spending a lot of time exhaling more than anything of it. So again, you can see in the plot here. I don't know if you can see my mouse on the OSB. Let's see. Oops. Where did I go there? Oh, what the heck has happened? Uh-oh. What did someone do to my sheet? Hey, who's in my sheet? Oh, maybe I went to the wrong. Okay, I went to the wrong sheet. Okay, never mind. Sorry. All right, let's quickly do this before I lose the data. So at minute 150, you can see I don the mask. You're seeing these pulsations coming up. That's every time I breathe in. You see they settle out about 4,000 because I'm breathing really slowly, and so it's getting 4,000 particles of gas. It's leaking through the filter. I mean, the exhale, it comes back down. It's because there's dead volume in here, and my lungs filter as well. So my lungs are actually filtering, so that's what's happening. I'm breathing out basically pure air because my lungs are capturing those particles inside of it. Lungs filter. Kind of crazy, I know, but that's how it works. Then you breathe in, it spikes back up to 4,000 particles per cc. So, what is this telling me? Okay, 1.202. So I'm getting like 76%. So I saw a slight improvement by reducing my slow breathing rate. I mean, my breathing rate what was my breathing rate estimated to be? I guess I don't really have great testing, but it's like I mean, it's about half of the breathing rate. So that same amount, roughly that same amount of period of time, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 breaths. I did 1, 2, 3, roughly 4 breaths, 4.5 breaths. So it's like basically like almost half the breathing rate, which would be roughly what a kid is, I would guess. I would guess a small kid is about half their lung volume, maybe even slightly less. But again, 76%? I don't know. So that's my test data. I mean, it is what it is. And I always say, if the manufacturer doesn't like the data, they can make their own. If you don't have your own data, well, then you need to go get it. Maybe I have a problem with my method, but until I'm shown that some other data that shows me that it works, it is what it is. So we tested that. Hey, we did another test. Is there anything else anyone wants to see? I'll throw over to the audience if there's anyone want me to test anything quickly. Oh, wow, lots of conversation here. I'm going to move fast because my counter can die. Let's see. Are the new batch Blunas large enough to change how they fit? No, the new batch Blunas are like a few millimeters wider, and it's just on the very edge of it. So like I'll do my best. I'm gonna make sure this is the new one. Oh, that's the old one. So the place where they changed the design on the new edge, I'm gonna go to my live here in a second, is right here on this edge. This edge is like a little bit longer. They extended this little fold over thing. The fold over is now longer. And I'm guessing because they just had such little material to fold over that they extended it they're probably seeing defects, or they have yield issues, right, where they make some bad batch and they have to fix something and adjust something. So I'm guessing they improved their machine design and their process to get a little bit better, more consistent output, and so they had to change the design a little bit. So not a big deal. Tested within 0.1% of what I had before, as worn too. I could nose pinch it and probably get even a better seal, but that's pretty good. So, it's so true. I saw the New York Times and the mask makers were evolving in the right direction. I'll stick to the South Korean and Hong Kong makers. Yeah, I agree. Do KF80s provide a pretty good level of protection? Yes. Order some comma mask for my daughter. She took one something color in the KF80s for I mean, so my testing, I don't think I tested the comma KF80s. So I mean, it's always with a little bit there, but typically I'm seeing that the comma 80s typically in my test in like the low 90s, so that's still pretty good. I mean, arguably in my opinion, the respiratory aerosol droplets are actually much bigger than the test aerosol I'm using, so usually that's not a problem, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. So I think in general they're pretty good. If you can get a good face seal, there's not really much advantage of pressure drop. It seems like they're just cheaper typically, is what I've noticed. All right, Travis is out of here. Let's see. Thanks for the mash. Your child wears better than one she won't, too. Try some bifolds and can't get a good fit around the nose, so hoping the bow style. Yeah, the bow style seems to work a little bit better if you can get the face sides right. Okay, well that's it. I'm back on vacation here, so I wanted to close out the Bluna gate issue, so they are protective. They did make a change. They should have notified, in my opinion. I mean, that's kind of an issue here. They should have notified people, hey, we're going to have a slight change in the manufacturing process. You might notice that they're a little bit longer, but they still have the same great protection, etc., etc., etc. So Thanks everybody for hanging out. I'm going to take off. I'm going to go back. I'm going to be on vacation. I'm actually going to be radio silence here starting Monday. I'm on the road Monday. We're doing a road trip, so I won't be around. So hopefully the mask world doesn't blow up while I'm gone. But if it does, well, I'll be back in a couple weeks to fix it. All right, thanks everybody, and everyone have a great Sunday afternoon. Remember, those Blunas, they're good. Same with all Cam 94s. All right, later everybody. Have a good one.